Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Spyro the Dragon. We are now setting off for World 4, the Beast Maker's World. And this one is quite interesting, I will say. This one in particular, I do remember being really the first world where you have some actual challenge in the game. And I think overall in this game, it is pretty straightforward, and for the most part, it's a pretty easy game, but I think there's a couple of stages in particular that I can think of, one being in Beastmaker's World, that will give you a little bit of a rough time. So we are about to see that very soon. And we have arrived. And this place looks pretty cool. As you can see, yeah, we are, again, in a completely new environment. This is going to be more of a swampy environment. You have your lily pads there out in the water. You have your grassland. We haven't really seen grass in quite some time. I think it was like Artisans was the last time we've seen this. Well, I guess technically we did see it in the Magic Crafters world. But yeah, we have quite a bit of stuff that we can see here. We are introduced to some new Nork enemies. These guys are actually quite annoying. You essentially just want to wait until they do their electric attack, and then that's when you should go in for the kill.
Nasty Nork is turning our swamp into an electrified junk heap. And it used to be so beautiful.
I'm sure it was.
So yeah, it sounds like Nasty Nork is even nastier than we thought. Yeah, he's actually ruining nature and violating it by essentially having all this electrical nonsense happen right here. You can see these platforms right here. They would have been electrified if we did not take out that enemy. And if he did electrify those platforms, you would actually be shocked by it taking damage. So this home world is a little bit more, you have a few obstacles actually to watch out for, a little bit more than any other home world so far. These guys are hogs, I believe is their official name. Maybe they're just considered hogs, I can't remember. They will charge directly at you, so you want to be kind of careful of that. Again, they're pretty easy to, enemies in this game are not really challenging, so just want to make sure you don't get hit by any direct attacks.
Spyro, it's great to see you, but I gotta go.
All right then, I guess you don't have time for us. You have better things to do, like go read the newspaper, or, I don't know, play bingo. Yeah, some of those dragons, they're starting to get a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little cocky, or not necessarily cocky, but I guess they don't really think it's worth the time to give Spyro the mentoring that he needs, especially now that he's, I don't know, like another home world closer to actually confronting Nasty Nork. I don't know, I think that's kind of important to maybe share some wisdom with him, but I guess that's not going to happen with that guy. No worries, we don't really need him right now. We just want to go ahead and bust through all these containers inside of this tree, or this tree house, I should say. If you jump down this little area here, you will find the next flight level. It's actually hidden, tucked away in this little crevice down here. Of course, there's more gems down there, so keep that in mind as well, in case you're missing some gems in the Beastmaker's world. They're possibly down here. Not a very obvious place to look, so you never know. But now that we know the flight level is over there, we can go ahead and travel over to this side and pick up the rest of our goodies on the other part of Beastmakers. But yeah, I have to say, I really do like the vibes and the environment in Beastmakers. We've already kind of seen a lot of different landscapes in the game already. And I feel like a swampy environment kind of feels right for a game like this, where, you're kind of, trucking along and finding various collectibles in all sorts of different places. And I think that, again, switching up the environment, going from, Spyro is a dragon, so he can travel pretty far. He has wings, he can fly. It only makes sense that he would eventually stumble upon, different types of terrain, kind of like this one. So you can kind of see here we have a lot more of these Nork enemies that will, again, do that shockwave attack. Again, just wait till they do it. Then you can charge directly towards them, taking them out before they have a chance to even do anything to you. We have more containers over here, of course. Now this part gets a little bit tricky to kind of locate some of the gems, because you will have to do A lot more platforming in this homeworld because they are kind of hidden in all sorts of different places here. We have one over here by our boy Cray.
I feel so sorry for all the dragons still trapped in Crystal. Maybe once you've rescued 50 dragons, I'll feel a little better.
And one thing I don't remember if I actually mentioned is those balloonists will kind of give you a number that you need, kind of like a minimum number that kind of gives you an idea of how far into each level or homeworld that you need to go in order to actually access the next one. Since we are completing this playthrough at 100%, obviously it's not that big of a deal because I'm going to get every single thing in our path within each homeworld before we actually move on to the next one. We're going to be clearing every single one completely. So right here is something that you probably don't know to do right away. You can actually soar and glide from that high up area, or that higher up platform, getting you over to these stumps where you will find a key and a bunch of gems. And of course, you know that the keys, of course, we know the keys are going to be needed to find even more gems. So we definitely needed to find that. And again, you can probably figure out where it is by just looking over there, but trying to actually get over there is a completely different story. So again, you just have to kind of, explore a little bit around, do a little bit of extra platforming, and you will get pretty much everything you need in these, well, not only these homeworlds, but obviously the regular stages as well. Of course, we've already seen that plenty of times. I don't need to go on and repeat myself over that. But here we have another stage. I don't think there's anything behind here. But yeah, as you can see, the stages are pretty spread out in this homeworld. So we have them pretty much in almost every corner of this place. So it is pretty wide open compared to Magic Crafters, where we had a bunch of tunnels to kind of travel through. This one's a lot easier to kind of get around, and I think that's why I like it a little bit more than Magic Crafters here. Oh, we missed a chest in there, of course. That was where our final gems were. So we have everything here that there is to collect in the homeworld area. So all there's left to do now is to take on all the stages. And I say that like it's, oh yeah, all there's left to do is to do this. Like it's going to take 5 minutes. No, this is going to take some time, man. We are halfway through the game now. We're getting into some harder stuff. So let's go ahead and start off with the first stage of Beastmakers, and it is Terrace Village. I love that green looking sky. It obviously is fitting with, kind of being in more of a swampy area. There's a lot of green, mossy stuff all around us. I think the sky fits the kind of the theme of where we are perfectly. So it essentially kind of feels like we're in Shrek or something. Like it's almost like a place where you could find his hut out here somewhere in the distance, and you can kind of maybe come across a few ogre friends or something. I don't know. It's kind of a missed opportunity that they didn't put ogres in this game. Not that I remember that they are. Maybe these big, I guess, Nork guys kind of resemble ogres, so I guess that's good enough. But yeah, we can kind of take a look around. This is the very first stage, and man, I have to say, it just looks gorgeous. The green color palettes that they use here are just absolutely beautiful. And again, this is a remake of the original trilogy. Spyro's getting a little tired of me talking. As you can see, he's yawning there. Yeah, that's something that is cool, and I feel like most 3D platformers have done something like this, where you essentially, if you sit idle enough, or kind of wait long enough and have the character sit there for a while, they will do something kind of funny where they will, visually appear, physically actually appear to be tired of just sitting there. I know they definitely do that in like, Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy definitely did that as well. It's just kind of funny to see that. And Spyro's even funnier because he's just a little dragon character, and it's just funny how he can get tired out, and, just like everybody else. So, but here we have, again, just some more exploration. We just want to go ahead and find as many gems as possible. We have these guys here. I think these are actually new enemies as well. So these are Nork guys. They are in these little metal boxes that can actually shoot lasers at you. So we have more long-range attacks to deal with in Beastmaker's world. Yeah, this is what I'm saying about these stages are a lot more difficult, not only to find your collectibles, but this is where you're going to face some rather difficult enemies for the most part. There is a stage coming up in, very soon that is actually hard in general, and I'll kind of talk more about that once we get there. But we have a dragon to save.
Watch out, Spyro. The Norks in these parts have discovered the power of electricity, and it really stings.
I'm kind of curious to know what the electricity bill would cost to actually power these things up like crazy. I mean, somebody's got to be paying that, right? Like, how can they actually get their electricity generated if they don't have an actual source that it's coming from? Like, surely they're not just like wizards where they can just beam the electricity out of those staffs, like those things have to be powered up too. Like I'm sure they have a charger somewhere. They have to charge up enough power to kill me, apparently. But it just kind of makes you wonder, where the hell are they getting all of this energy? And who is paying for this? Is it Nasty Nork? Is it somebody else? Is it one of the dragons that he took captive and somehow they're hiding out in his lair and they aren't actually a statue like the rest of them? I don't know. But I have a lot of questions about it. But anyways, enough of me being crazy. We are going to continue taking out some more enemies here. Again, you just kind of want to watch out for these guys. The reason why I think these enemies, the ones that do the shockwave attacks, are a little bit more frustrating to deal with. We have a lot of locked chests there, you can see. The reason why I think these guys are a little bit more frustrating is because they kind of require you to be a little bit more patient and to have a lot of patience, which I just don't in general. So you kind of have to do a little bit of waiting around for them to do their attacks before you can actually move in to take them out. So I think that's what I find the most tedious, because I like to just kind of, especially in this game, I just like to kind of get going, man. Like I want to find my collectibles and I want to start exploring the area. So having me wait anytime at all is just kind of painful.
Good job, Spyro. One day you'll be able to tell all the dragons about your amazing adventures.
Sure, but what I'd really like to do is get out of this swamp.
Gotta focus on the important stuff first, Spyro. I couldn't agree more with you. Even though I'm not really sure I agree with you on that statement, because this place looks pretty damn awesome. But maybe if I was actually in the world, you know, kind of dealing with all these crazy monsters, I would probably feel the same way. So I gotta say, he has a good point. But yeah, that dragon there, he was kind of funny. I think his name was Cyprin. He kind of just was like laying down all relaxed and chill. And I'm glad somebody is, because, you know, obviously he's not the one that has to deal with all these enemies and finding all these gems. So his work is pretty much, you know, pretty much nothing compared to what we have to do here with Spyro. As you can see, we have a few interesting jumps we do need to make here with the glide ability. So keep that in mind. You will be still, you know, making some pretty interesting jumps, and timing your glides are always going to be important in this game, but I think in this stage in particular, it's probably more important than it has been pretty much throughout the entire game up until this point. I'm gonna go ahead and drop down here and just get these chests now, because I'm most likely going to forget about these. There are a lot of areas in this stage, if I remember correctly, where you can very much forget things very easy. So I'm going to try to scope out as much as I can here, to hopefully avoid doing that. But yeah, we'll see what we can do here. Like I said, you know, there's times where I have played this game several times, I will say that, but there are definitely still times where I just have brain farts. I don't know if it's me getting older, if it's just the way my brain is. I could be just completely dumb. I don't know, but I have moments where even the most obvious of things that you would not think that would be a chore to go around and find or miss, is something that I would probably not find or miss. So just saying. So kind of get used to that. But anyways, I mean, this is episode 4. I'm sure you've already seen that happen already. But anyhow, we have a bunch of air currents here that we want to take to kind of get back to where we need here. We have the return home right there, so that's the end of the level. Obviously, we don't want to go through there quite yet. We're not really done here. We just want to go ahead and locate the rest of the gems that we need to find, and then we can worry about returning home then. So this level, I remember having a little bit of a gimmick with it, where, as you can see, it doesn't look like we have much left to find, but there is, and I believe we need to actually glide over to some higher points that we couldn't reach at the beginning of the level. Okay, so I finally, after kind of running around like a chicken with my head cut off, remembered what to do. We need to glide off of that platform right there. That will take us over to these platforms. We could not get there from over on this side originally. And we can now pop these bad boys open, get some more gems, and look at this. Yeah, we have a bunch of areas still left to explore. We have fireworks, we have firecrackers. Everything is just insane right now. And I gotta say, that little animation just never gets old, especially the little sound it makes when it pops the bad boy open. So anyways, we are just cracking open some more chests here. Gotta get more gems. We have another firecracker right there. Or I don't even know if you would consider those. I don't think those are actually considered firecrackers, but I just don't remember the name of those type of fireworks. That just, maybe they're shooters or something. I don't know. Maybe that's like an alcoholic thing. I don't know. But anyways, As you can see, yeah, we use those to kind of pop open those chests that are locked, since those are not the ones that require a key. They require something else to bust them open, which we just found. We have a bunch of gems that came out of those. That's going to get us a lot closer to our total here that we need. Let's go ahead and fly over here. It looks like we have another one right there. So that means there's got to be another firework somewhere around here that will bust that guy open. Let's see if we can find it. It's got to be... Oh, right here. Yeah, see how hidden that is? Like, it's not necessarily hidden. It's just kind of like you can run right past that at the very beginning of the stage like I did and not know it's there until you're like in the very, you know, end part of the stage where you're essentially just kind of rounding up the last few gems. So in theory, we actually could have flamed that thing the moment we stepped foot in this place. So, or at least once we got past this little point right here. Oh, we got an enemy back here. See, all the things you can miss. Like I'm telling you, man, they just hide things left and right. Like I said, they're pretty sneaky in this game. Like they can hide things all over the place. We'll go ahead and refuel Sparks here, make sure he's got enough energy for us. But yeah, they can hide gems and chests all over the place. Like right here, another example. Again, this is, you know, probably intended to be found earlier on, but if you are a brain farter like I am, where you have those moments where you just kind of forget things, you're gonna forget that they were there, and that was it. Look at that. Holy cow. Okay, I was actually not expecting to get that done as fast as I did, even though I kind of took some time to figure out where to go. All right, going back to home is where we want to be now. We have a nice green little background behind us. Gotta love it. And we are now returning back to Beastmakers. So, and believe it or not, as much as it did seem like this one was a little bit trickier than some other stages we've taken on already, you have not seen anything yet, because again, there is still a stage in this world, and I've been kind of hyping it up a lot for a specific reason, because from what I understand, it's probably considered either the hardest stage in this game or one of the hardest in the trilogy, from what I remember. So, but you'll kind of see what I'm talking about once we get there. We have one more stage though that we need to tackle before we get to that one, and it is actually located right over here. It is Misty Bog. It's actually right there, just smack dab, pretty much in the middle of the home world. Take care of some hogs in our way, and we will travel through the portal, taking us to stage 2. So we are entering Misty Bog. Sounds a little misty. Sounds a little sketchy. We're just gonna admire Spyro's beauty as he flies through, as he flies right into this next stage. That's what we're gonna do. Alright, so we have landed in Misty Bog. Already, right off the bat, we have an enemy just kind of hidden behind this little wall here. Get rid of him with your charge attack, because he does have metal armor on, and you should be able to collect all the gems he has hiding behind that wall. These guys are tree-like enemies that will essentially sprout from the ground. It's kind of similar. They kind of act a little bit similar to the dog enemies that we saw way back when, and even maybe the like the vultures that we had back in World 2. They will essentially kind of charge at you kind of out of nowhere, because they sprout from the ground first and then they will charge at you second, but it happens pretty fast, so you have to kind of stay on your toes for those guys, and otherwise I think you'll be okay. But yeah, they are kind of startling at first. Like, you're not really sure exactly what they're doing there as they're shaking their heads very violently from the ground. But yeah, you just kind of want to be careful of them charging right at you, so.
Be on the lookout for attack frogs. They are cold-blooded killers.
Attack frogs?
And this used to be such a nice swamp.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one, Roscoe. But yeah, apparently we have to deal with some killer frogs here. They are those blue frogs that you saw me just take out moments ago. They're really not that bad. He's kind of making them seem a little bit worse than they are. But I think that's just kind of, again, just to add a little bit of humor to the dialogue a little bit, because these dragons have to be afraid of something. Like, Over here, we will find a Nork guy, I guess kind of running like a scared little girl away from this hog that's kind of chasing him around in a circle. We can destroy both of them for some gems there, so that's pretty nice. This stage is a little bit interesting because it's made up of, instead of just having like one, nice little, patch of grass that you're exploring all over the place, you have several patches of land that you're kind of going through one by one and finding all of the goodies that lie within. So up here we have a little bit of a stump trail. We can actually fall down in this open stump right here, a nice little fairy kind of giving us a hint that we need to go down there. We will do that, and we will find more stuff down here. We have a lot of enemies left to take care of down in this little stump area. It kind of looks pretty cool down here. I like the little pond of water here as you get down here. We have a lot of shrubbery and plants and all kinds of beautiful things to look at as we make our way down.
Thank you for releasing me.
Jeez, he looks like he was about to just crumble into dust or something. Like, these guys are ancient history, apparently. And they're old as dirt. I really shouldn't be saying, like, talking like that, but they just, come on. How old are these dragons? Like 100? But anyways, we have more attack frogs. We have more attack hogs. And, yeah, we still have quite a bit of stuff to find here. Another dragon up there. We got to find out how to get up there before we do that. We'll go and collect all these gems. Actually, there's actually stairs right there. So we'll go and get him after we collect the rest of these gems in the surrounding area. And we have some more little hidden areas right here. Again, they will just kind of hide just like a single gem like you saw right there. Just kind of on its own, just kind of sitting there, in the middle of nowhere, or in the middle of the, corner of the map there.
I'll tell you what to do with those creatures. Smash them, Spyro! Stamp them out and squish them and squash them!
How about charge them and flame them? We are dragons after all.
And that works too. Yeah, I love the little, I love how Spyro was kind of laughing along like he was really not planning on taking that dragon's advice. He just had his own little idea there. So he's thinking like a dragon should. Just straightforward, to the point. Just use your damn flame breath, man. Like, it's just easy. But anyways, we have pretty much gotten everything that, from what it looks like, that we have seen in our direct path. So now it looks like we have to go and backtrack for all the stuff that we did not find. So that is what we're going to do now. I love that waterfall right there, man. That looks just absolutely insanely beautiful. Alright, so what I actually forgot to do, and I can't believe I didn't remember this because I just played this game not too long ago, is if you actually glide over to this little stone area, you can use these stone platforms as stepping stools, and you can actually get to the very top of the stone area here, giving you a bunch of gems right here. So very nice. Crack those bad boys open, and we'll be good to go. We still have a whole other part of the stage I think we haven't got to yet, so I want to go ahead and glide over here to these stumps. And there's a bunch of these things we need to actually use as platforms, which I actually really like that idea for the swamp area. It's so cool that they did that. We have a nice line of enemies. We have a nice line of Nork enemies to take out right there, one by one. We will go ahead and flame all of these containers, busting them open and getting the goodies inside of them. And it looks like we are still just a little bit of gems short from what we need. I think it's actually 500 for this one, I do believe. Let's just kind of take a little bit of a look around because I'm actually not sure exactly where I need to go now. I thought that was everything. Let's go ahead and glide back over here. This is essentially the very beginning of the stage. Sparks wants me to go behind this wall. Did I miss something back here? I did. I missed a single damn chest. What do you know? I mean, we actually got another extra life behind there too, so not too bad. Now he's directing me back in that direction. I wonder what I missed over there now. Yeah, as you can see, we already got our 50 dragon minimum requirement. So again, getting dragons in this game is really not that hard. Ah, this guy. Okay, we missed a gem in there, or in him, I should say. Ah, okay, here we go. Yeah, we did not actually take this path, so I completely forgot about this pathway. You can get over here. Actually, what I like to do is glide to the side right there, because those frogs will kind of make your life a living hell as soon as you land down here. So kind of be a little bit cautious about that. And this room is really fun because we have a lot of enemies we can take out here. I like to take out the frogs first here because those guys with the dagger looking things can kind of hit you, you know, within a good range. So you want to make sure you're not too close to them. And the frogs will essentially kind of, you know, oh crap. The frogs can mess up your rhythm there if you are not careful. So I think taking out the frogs first is good, even though I kind of screwed up there at the end. But it's alright because we found another dragon.
Thanks for releasing me. It seems like I've been trapped in here since I was your age.
Oh, no.
Why, I remember,
Gotta go.
I mean, who hasn't reacted like that in some, you know, at some point in your life when you have somebody older than you that's, I don't know, I feel like people nowadays, like especially my generation and even younger generations, that our attention spans just really aren't what they used to be for people maybe that were our age back in the day. I don't know, like sometimes I just don't have time to listen to a long drawn out story. If I have a mission to accomplish, like collecting these gems, or maybe I have better things to do with my life, I don't know. But sometimes you just don't have patience for it. So I can completely relate to Spyro in that regard. Aha, right here. What do you know? That was the last one I was missing. So once again, that can happen quite frequently. And yeah, like I said, you can have just one gem, you know, just kind of hiding behind a wall, a staircase, all kinds of stuff. All right, so we are done here. That is it for Misty Bog. It is time to return home. So I kind of feel like that's a prime example of maybe some critiques that certain people would have with this game specifically versus maybe some other 3D platformers. So like, for example, Banjo-Kazooie, and I think even Super Mario 64 could probably be grouped in with could probably be grouped into this list as well, where those platformers feel more like an egg hunt type of platformer. And what I mean by that is things are a little bit more linear. Your collectibles are pretty much given to you right in a straight path, or they're usually in clusters, or just kind of given to you in a very specific way. Whereas this game, Spyro the Dragon, has, you know, like you just saw right there, I mean, we have gems that are just single gems sitting in corners under grass that you might miss, and might be in maybe some more obscure locations. And that's one of the reasons why I really love this game and enjoy it maybe a little bit more than some of the other platformers, because it just feels like you are, you know, you're kind of doing a little bit more work to find what you need. And I would kind of describe that more as like a scavenger hunt, where those other games like, you know, maybe Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, and I love those games to death, don't get me wrong, but the collectibles in those games feel like they're given to you in a more linear way, where this game just kind of ventures outside of that typical formula, you know, giving you more of a challenge as to just finding very simple collectibles. Meanwhile, as you can see here, we have another stage. This one is Treetops. Treetops is the stage that I have been hyping up as one of the hardest in the entire series. I would consider this stage possibly the hardest stage in this game. And you're going to see exactly why once we get to that. But basically, the reason why Treetops is pretty complex is because of a couple of very tricky jumps that, to be honest with you, if you figure out how to make a couple of jumps in this stage on your own without any guide whatsoever, congratulations, because you're probably one of the more highly skilled players at this game in particular. And again, that's because there's a couple of jumps that are very, very difficult to not only know where you need to go and where you need to land, but they're difficult to make in general. So you're going to be seeing some pretty interesting gameplay by me very soon, because although I do kind of remember what to do here and what jumps I need to make, actually making that happen and without failing too many times or dying can be a whole different situation.
Greetings, Spyro. For an amazing tour of the treetops, don't just stop at one supercharge.
So Treetops is a very unique stage in this game, and I don't know if it's making me hate the stage that much more or actually love it that much more. And I'd probably say it's a fine line. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the stage because I think it is a great idea. Having you make some pretty crazy jumps in the stage kind of really tests the waters with how difficult some of the platforming actually is in this game. So as you can see right here, we have a supercharged ramp. We can use that, of course, to go ahead and speed things up here, make some pretty interesting jumps that we normally wouldn't be able to make without it. Now, I did miss a bunch of gems during that course. However, we can still find a lot more over here on this essentially finish line, as I like to call it, of your supercharge. This is essentially the furthest you can go with the supercharge. But if you did notice, there is actually an area right above us that we actually cannot get to, or at least the way that we just tried to. So we have a air current here that's actually going to throw us all the way back over on this side. This is essentially closer to the beginning of the stage. We have another super ramp right there, but that's really kind of pointless. It's just going to take you back to where I just flew from, where that return home is. And obviously we do not want to worry about that at all right now. We're going to go ahead and collect a few more gems here. We have a locked container. That is not the one we need the key for, so we need to go ahead and look for that. What we want to do is actually glide back over here. Now that we've made our way back up here, I actually want to take this path this time around. Now we will be going back to that supercharge ramp that I was just at to make some more jumps to find some more stuff that we need. But there's still plenty of stuff to gather over here, and we haven't even went over here yet. These guys are pretty intimidating. These are like giant monkeys, essentially.
Spyro, if you jump at the end of a supercharge ramp, you can really go far.
I'm all over it.
So this dragon is giving you a hint that is actually very important for the stage and is actually required if you are planning on 100%ing the stage and getting everything. Now, it is kind of interesting to me that he tells you this now when we've actually already utilized our increased jump distance by using these supercharge ramps in a past stage. Alright, so now that we are back at the supercharge ramp that we saw earlier, I want to go ahead and make this jump right here because what we need to do is... Oh, very nice. So yeah, as you can see there, by using a combination of your jump speed with the supercharge ramp, you can actually make it all the way to the top of this area here. And of course, you're going to find a lot of goodies. This is one of the harder jumps to make in the stage and is one of the absolutely insane jumps that you do have to make. But don't hold your breath quite yet because the fun is just now getting started. We have yet again another complicated jump, which is way more complex than the one we just made there, if you can believe it or not. So we're going to go ahead and begin doing that one right now. Back to the same supercharge ramp. We want to go ahead and jump over here again. I guess I can go ahead and break these containers first. Get those out of the way. Oh, there's a monkey just kind of hiding there. Oh, another one. Man, these guys will throw bananas at you, as funny as that is. So they're kind of taking things Donkey Kong Country style, essentially. But now what we want to do is once you get to this center little platform of the center area here with all these pillars, you want to get to this supercharge ramp right here. Take this one, and you can actually bust that open with the supercharge ability. And if you get into this little tree stump right here, again, you will find more collectibles. There's another monkey we can blast into eternity to get a gem inside of him as well. But wait, there's more. Back to my favorite supercharge ramp once again. We're going to go ahead and jump over here, keep the charge, jump to this ramp, keep the charge going, skew to the right there. Yeah, we're making a sharp right. We're going to try that again. So once again, supercharge ramp, hold the charge. Jump off of this, get to this ramp, hold the charge. Immediately cut to the right, get up this one backwards and make it over here. Jump off of that ramp, and that's how you get to this area over here. that is an insane amount of combinations of jumps that you need to make. Maybe I got a little overboard there. I'm trying to calm down a little bit. But yeah, that's the most insane jump probably you will make in this entire game, which is what makes the stage so freaking hard.
That was quite a ride, Spyro. You learned a lot since you were a young glider.
Yeah, well, you could have found an easier spot to get stuck.
No right? Like, I mean, come on. That guy, that was just a complete dick move. But I have to say, a lot of people hate that. And it's what makes this stage probably stand out as probably the worst stage in the game for some people. For me, I don't really consider it the worst stage. I consider it probably the hardest in the game. But I kind of like it. Like, the first time I ever played this stage, I probably threw my controller a million times out of anger. Now replaying it over and over again, it actually becomes more enjoyable because of how complicated that jump is. It makes it more fun knowing that you know that this is coming up. You know, this is like the one stage in my head that I always dread when I replay this game, only because it kind of stresses me out at times, but it's also enjoyable in a weird way. I don't know really how to describe it, but it feels very accomplishing, you know, knowing the fact that once you make that jump, you know how to do it and that you have mastered it at, you know, after a certain point at least. And I don't know why, but that makes me feel good, and that makes me want to replay it over and over again, or at least, you know, multiple times in the future. So but that's it. We finished Treetops, so that is stage 3 done. But yeah, that stage is pretty unique, and again, it's probably one of the more standoutish stages in Spyro the Dragon, at least from what I remember. So but now that we are done with all that craziness, of course we still have the flight level to do, so we're going to actually head over in that direction next, because if you remember, it's down that little that crevasse that we just kind of found, you know, earlier on upon landing the Peacemakers. We want to head over here and then jump down, and it is now time to take on the next flight stage, which is Wild Flight. Sounds a little wild, a little crazy, but let's go ahead and get it started. Man, again, I just love the color palettes they use here, man. That sky, it is just like the perfect shade of blue and purple. I don't know what it is. All right, so Wild Flight, pretty standard to what we've already seen with the, you know, the flight levels already. I'm going to go ahead and crash and burn in the first 5 seconds, and then we're going to actually do it for reals. All right, so we're going to try again. Yeah, sometimes if I don't feel like I have a good rhythm right off the bat, I won't even try to continue. So I just wanted to get a nice little rhythm back here. So now that we have it, we are going to get things started here. So like we have, or like we saw with some of the other flight stages, we have more of these chests. Wow, I almost bit the dust right there again. More Norks flying planes, we need to take care of them. The best strategy for these guys is to actually fly towards them instead of chasing them from behind. You can do that, it will work just as well, but I feel like doing it this way is a little bit quicker and can get your you know, your goal and your stage done a lot faster. The tricky part here is once you have gotten everything you need to get in this area, you have to go through this little tunnel here, which can take a little bit of time to get back out to the main area. But now all that's left are these electrical arches, as well as these Norks that are driving these boats, these little powered boats, which I always find is kind of funny. They're just kind of doing their own little thing here as we are scorching the hell out of their asses, just to you know, essentially progress further in the game here. But this area does look very cool. I love the crystals that they have like up on the grass, kind of shining in the background and on the sides of the, you know, the level and the pathway you have. It's really cool. This little bridge area here, where you can kind of either, you know, fly above it or below it. That's always something I always love to see. But yeah, again, we're going to kind of take the same strategy with the boat guys as we did the plane guys, where if we can get them from in the front of them, flame them from the front, it'll be a little bit quicker. As you can see there, we got that done with almost no time at all. We had about 6 seconds left to spare, so cut it a little short, but it definitely was not the worst attempt that we had at a flight level. So I'll take it as a win. We're going to make our way back to Beastmakers now, and that is almost about it. Believe it or not, I actually feel like this didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. It still took a reasonable amount of time, especially Treetops. Like, I'm probably not going to show most of the failed attempts that I had in Treetops. That some of those jumps actually took me several tries, but you're probably going to see me doing it like once or twice or something. But besides that, we'll go ahead and focus on what we need to do, which is take on the boss. Heading back over here, we have the boss of Beastmaker's World, and it is Metalhead. Let's jump right in. I think one of the fun parts about playing this game for the first time is before you enter a boss stage, you're given the name of the boss. You kind of have an idea of what to expect in a way without really fully knowing what actually is, or what it actually is you're going to be fighting or confronting here. So that's something I always thought was kind of cool. Just like Metalhead, like Metalhead could literally mean anything, you know? So who knows? Right off the bat, you get a beautiful shot of that moon right there. I love how the clouds are just like, you know, floating right in front of the moon. Like, that is an absolute amazing shot right there. I always love looking at that upon entering this stage here. But we have entered the boss stage officially. This is the Metalhead stage. And yeah, again, that little aesthetic of the environment that you see upon entering the stage, again, just kind of, it kind of takes me back to, like, I don't know, it gives off like Disney vibes or maybe Shrek vibes. Like, again, I'm pretty sure there was a scene in Shrek where they have like a nice shot of the moon with like the clouds kind of blowing, you know, kind of, you know, blowing in front of it as well, floating in front of it, as well as, you know, of course, you still have that little swampy area where you have all the trees and all the marsh and all of like the mossy type of, you know, environment as well. I don't know what it is about that. It just all looks very cool. But yes, this stage is pretty straightforward for the most part. I don't remember this being that difficult. I guess we won't get too ahead of ourselves in that regard. We have more of the monkeys. This time around, we actually have armored monkeys. They're the little chimp-looking ones that are smaller, but they are covered in armor, so you, of course, are going to have to rely on your charge attack in order to take them out. I believe they still throw bananas at you. Yeah, it looks like it, which, again, I think is just hilarious in the fact that they do that. But we're going to go ahead and take the rest of them out. We're going to focus on trying to get as many gems as we can right out of the gate here. We have a bunch of stuff up there. It's a little higher up, out of our reach. We can't quite do anything about it yet.
Metalhead is all charged up to meet you. Attacking the power pole should disrupt his power supply.
Alright, so we're giving a little bit of a hint upon actually facing off with the boss, but this is Metalhead. As you can see, he is essentially a gigantic robot that we need to actually destroy by taking out these metal poles. Now, the trick with the metal poles is you only want to charge into them when they are green. As you can see, we kind of made fine work of that first room. There are a couple of different rooms we're going to have to face off in. If the poles are lit up in red, you will actually take damage, I do believe, but it will also not destroy the poles, prolonging things in regards to actually taking down Metalhead. So again, you just want to wait until they flash the green color. That essentially is the sign that you are good to go ahead and take them out. Kind of like a stoplight. You know, red means stop, don't do anything. Green means go, you know, go for it. Kind of a weird analogy, but it works. So we have more gems kind of hiding out in the grass here too. So you want to kind of, you know, obviously don't forget to grab those. I have to say, out of all the bosses, and that was it for Metalhead, you can see right there. So actually, technically it was only 2 tries for him, I guess, 2 different rooms. Metalhead is one of the more badass looking bosses. Like, he looks like a complete intimidating foe in this game. I feel like all the other bosses have kind of been jokes, and they've been a little bit more goofy, you know, usually a little more sillier, you know, like some of the bosses we've faced already, but he is a little bit more menacing. He looks a lot more intimidating. He's made of nothing but metal, so the guy is pretty defensive, but I like the idea of kind of him having a weak point still and us being able to kind of, utilize our charge ability in order to expose it and take it down. But yeah, so we have some more stuff up here. Yeah, we actually got Metalhead done pretty fast there. Yeah, not a hard boss. I still wouldn't say there's any boss in this game that's challenging at all, even the final one. So really nothing in terms of challenge. It's mainly, you're mainly going to be kind of focusing on backtracking in the stage to get all the other collectibles. Because in this one, from what I remember, they are hidden like crazy in here. So we need to do a little bit of exploration to make sure we are not missing a single one. Like I said before, yeah, we have single gems just kind of hiding in the tall grassy areas. Again, a little bit more obscure. You just want to kind of take the time to search them out, and again, just kind of, really look around every square inch of the perimeter of where you are. We'll go ahead and flame some of these chickens. That way Sparks can have a nice feast. Regain a little bit of health in the process. Alright, so this is what I remember being a little bit tricky, and I just now figured out where to go. Right down here, this is probably one of the most obscure sections in any stage of this game. You actually can pass through this little partially open gate right here on the bottom floor of the stage, and you will find a lot of other stuff hidden back here. This part I remember being one of the things I had to actually look up on my first time playing through this game, and I am not surprised if anybody else had the same issue, because I don't know, that's just not something that is obvious to me, I guess. But again, it just kind of goes back into my kind of my statement that I made previously, saying that this is one of the reasons why this game stands out to me above other platformers, because they do a really good job of hiding things. And figuring that out for the first time, whether you had to look it up on a guide or you did it yourself, which is a little bit more impressive, feels very accomplishing. Like, you feel like you are like Superman, essentially. I don't know, maybe I'm taking that a little bit too far out of context, but you get what I mean. Like, it's just a fun and enjoyable experience being able to find these little hidden areas, especially if you are able to do it on your own. It just feels very rewarding because you're getting a lot of other stuff for it. So now that we have the key, we want to actually make our way back up here, and this is where the locked box was. And that's going to get us more gems, but that is not quite enough. We actually need some more. So I'm actually not sure where I'm missing the other ones. I thought that was it, but clearly it's not. We're missing 35 gems. Ah, up there. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so another part about the stage that is kind of tricky is we have to find a way to get up there. Are you kidding me? Okay, so this is a, I don't know if this is like a me just being dumb moment, but is it just me, or is that staircase very well hidden off the main path? Like, I did not see that, and I went back and forth in that little tunnel, several times. But anyways, that's how you get up there, and you can get the rest of your gems if those are the ones that you were missing, at the end of that stage. So, but that is it. We have officially completed Beastmaker's World. So things are, looking up here. We are over halfway through the game. We actually, believe it or not, only have one more home world, and then after that is the final world of the game, where we have our last stages. So we are actually inching towards the end of this thing, believe it or not. It feels like it just was started yesterday. But as you can see, we have a total of 8,000 gems, so our progress has definitely not went unnoticed at this point. But that's going to do it again for Beastmaker's Worlds. We'll head over to Cray, see what he's got to say.
Oh, I feel much better now that so many dragons have been rescued. Jump in the balloon, and I'll show you the Dreamweaver's world. Are you ready to go?
So next time on Spyro the Dragon, we will be heading over to Dreamweaver's world, the 5th world of the game. So until then, I will see you later.